Live at the Beach House Grill here on a Wednesday night, the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show here on the Colorado State Sports Network. Brian Roth back with you. Again, we'll be joined by Dan Hammersmith, wide receiver coach, coming up later on this show, and sophomore wide receiver Lou Greenwood will join us as well. Fly Frontier to more than 70 cities all across the U.S., Mexico, and Costa Rica. And for the best values in the air, be sure to book your next trip at frontierairlines.com. Well, the New Mexico Lobos, the opponent coming up on Saturday for the Rams. Again, it's a 4 o'clock kickoff. We'll be on air at 2 p.m. with the tailgate show. Steve, looking at some of their stats and going through some of the newspaper articles, and they have played, going into last week's game, 4 different quarterbacks. I mean, 4 quarterbacks. That sounds like a coach's nightmare.
Yeah, it really does. And I'm sure Mike doesn't want to do that and go that route, but I think they've had some injuries. A little bit of unsettledness on which way they're going, early on in the season. So, in one way, it hurts them in terms of having an experienced guy back there. But they've got some guys that have played some football amongst those 4. And with us, it's you got to prepare for all 4, and you got to you don't know what you're going to get Saturday. But I'm sure they're like us. If they could settle on a guy, they would like to do that.
Yeah, and 2 of them have been true freshmen. One that they had to play just because they had nobody else to go to a few weeks back. It looks like B.R. Holbrook is going to be their starter. At least Mike Loxley said yesterday in the conference call that he's going to be their starter. He was the guy that was slated to go at the start of the season. What do you know about him?
Well, he's a dual threat guy. He can hurt you running and throwing the football, which I'm always concerned about those guys because you can play your assignment, play well defensively, and then all of a sudden the play breaks down, and if you're not in perfect position, the guy will take off and make something happen on you. So that part scares you, and they've got some skill. Some of those backs and receivers, when they get the ball, are very, very talented. So we're going to have to play well defensively. We're going to have to tackle. We're going to have to wrap up in the open field. And most importantly is we've got to do a much, much better job of keeping the ball in front of us. We have to make offenses earn the yardage and earn the points and not give anybody anything easy.
Talking to Larry Kerr, your defensive coordinator, earlier today, said really they were running 3 different running backs with equal rotation. Well, that's now down to 2 as Damon Dennis has been released from the team. He was their leading rusher. So I guess for the defensive side of things for you guys, you only have to focus, it looks like, on 2 backs rather than 3.
Right, but they're 2 very talented guys, and one of them got loose on us a little bit last year. So, like I said, we're going to have to contain it, and when the ball's in the open field, we're going to have to do a good job of wrapping up.
What about them defensively? They did a nice job. Gave up, I think, 2 big plays to San Diego State. Other than that, they did a nice job against the Aztecs.
They played very, very well against San Diego State and made some stops on 3rd down and got a little pressure on the quarterback and hung in there on the run pretty good. So, they are. You get the feeling they're a little bit like us prior to the UNLV game. They're kind of flashing in enough areas to where they're about ready to have one of those breakout games, and defensively they're certainly capable of playing well against us.
With that being said, I know it's important in every single game that's played across the nation every week, getting off to a good start, but when you're taking on a team like New Mexico that hasn't won, if you can kind of step on their throats early, I know it would be a good sign.
Well, it'd be good for us too.
Sure.
Our confidence, we start to think we're playing a little bit better at times, and I'd like nothing better than like the UNLV game to get a turnover early and go ahead and punch the ball in the end zone. That's a great way to start the game.
We're live at the Beach House Grill here for the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show on the Colorado State Sports Network. Ram fans, you can join the coach here at the Beach House Grill, 125 South College Avenue in Old Town Fort Collins, every Wednesday night from 6:30 to 7:30 as the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Great crowd on hand here tonight. It sounds strange to say, I think. But we only have 3 more of these left, Steve.
That's
after this one.
It's just flown by.
Man.
It's just flown by.
So you have 3 more chances to get out here, and great food here at the Beach House Grill, and great atmosphere to come on out. We'll be here next Wednesday night as well, 6:30 to 7:30 here on the Colorado State Sports Network. Steve, I heard you on Monday talk about red zone and how you guys can improve your efficiency. You said you thought you might get a little conservative with the freshman quarterback down there in the red zone.
Well, I definitely do, and when you get down in that area with a brand new quarterback, things get very, very tight. The timing of your passing game gets real important, and balls get tipped and things like that. When you cross a certain yard line as a head football coach, you start to mark up, hey, we got some points here. And as your quarterback's more and more experienced, I think you can take more chances and open things up inside the 30, inside the 25-yard line. We're just, a little hesitant at times to do that with Pete. But we work on it awfully hard at practice. He's improving, and I think as we go, he's going to be very good down there.
Does there come a time, maybe even this year, maybe even this week, where you do get a little more aggressive with it?
Yeah, and I think a lot of things dictate that. Number one, the flow of the game, the score of the game, and how you're playing in a game. Secondly, obviously, coverage dictates it. If we have a good feel and he has a good feel for what we're going to see, that makes it a little easier. If it's a multiple coverage defense with some pressure, then obviously you back off a little bit at that point with a new quarterback. But he's going to be very good. Like I said, I think he's got a bright future. Just some of the things on third down, some of the things on the red zone are nuances at the quarterback spot that they take time, and you're still talking about a kid that's was playing high school football last fall.
Yeah. Speaking of growth and maturity and coming into their own, I know you've really liked the progress of that offensive line.
Yeah, I really do. I was thinking about it, driving over here tonight. We've got some real development in most spots on our football team. Our quarterback's coming on. He's going to be a very good player. Our offensive line, I've been really impressed with how far they've come. And, you just take a guy like Weston Richburg, who's a redshirt freshman starting at center, has got a bright future. Lou Greenwood, who you're going to talk to here in a minute, how far he's come at the receiver spot and how well he's doing. And you look defensively with those, moves we made at defensive end with Broderick Sargent and Davis Burrow, the sophomores, and what Mike Rackpo's coming on and doing at linebackers, a true freshman, and Shaq Bell. There's just a lot of good young development going on in our football program. And we've got some upper class guys that are having great years. Zach Paga, Guy Miller, Ricky Brewer, and I know I'm leaving some people out.
Pites.
Yeah, Eric Pites. They're playing tremendously, but you need a lot of people, and the development that I see at just about every spot really gives you hope, and there's some good young kids coming up through the ranks.
Well, Steve mentioned Lou Greenwood. Let's take a timeout. We'll give you a break, Coach, and we'll get Lou Greenwood on the airwaves with us here coming up next. Coors Light, Steve Fairchild, Coach's Show on the Colorado State Sports Network. Welcome back here to Fort Collins to the Beach House Grill. Coors Light's Steve Fairchild, Coach's Show here on the Colorado State Sports Network. Brian Roth back with you, and as advertised, joined by the sophomore out of Conroe, Texas, and Conroe High School, Lou Greenwood. Am I pronouncing that right? Right? All right.
Yeah.
Conroe. Where's Conroe?
It's like 30 minutes from Houston. I want to say it's north. It's north,
Okay.
North of Houston, like 30 minutes.
So
yeah.
just outside of Houston. Does that make you a Texans fan?
Yeah, no, Dallas.
Yeah, everybody's a Cowboys fan down there, right? Off to a rough start this year for those Cowboys,
Yeah.
but we're not here to talk Dallas Cowboys football. How has the season gone, and you've made that full-time commitment now to wide receiver?
It's been weird. I mean, from the beginning, like training camp, it was one way, and then once the game started, I was straight receiver. And I mean, at first I didn't get it, but that man right there, he was in my head like all day, every day. So I got it down. I learned the plays, and it kind of come easy to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some of the nuances of playing wide receiver, because I was talking to Coach Hammersmith, who you just pointed to, and he said, we were talking about you, he said that the light's starting to go on. What does that mean?
Well, at first, it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It's just that I didn't know, like, the system. I didn't know the play, so I was just go out there and thinking. But then I learned the play, so I could just go out and just run full speed, do this, do that. And then, so it all came together for me.
Yeah, to react rather than think and then react.
Yeah.
I know is a big part of the game of football and really any sport. Let's go back a week and a half to that UNLV game. And, take us through that. You had a big 50-yarder earlier in the game, and then the big 73-yarder, the touchdown, longest pass play of the year. Take us through that play.
Wow, okay. When Coach Fairchild was like, we're going to run this play, then we're going to run pump Saturday. Now, you going to be tired? I was like, no, I'll be all right. So we run the play, and then Pete was like, pump Saturday. I was like, ah. So I line up, and he say hut, and I run. I was running hard, and I just looked left, and the dude bit. So I was like, yes, just Pete throw it to me right. So I was running, and the ball was like just It was going real slow. So I thought it was going to overthrow me, and I was
Yeah.
like, dang. But I threw my hands out, and it fell. And I was scared, so I just kept running. So,
That was a huge play in the football game.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of established the Rams' momentum in that contest.
Yeah, it did.
And, boy, for you guys to go on and win 43-10 after the last year and a half, there haven't been many of those. I bet that had to feel good in that locker room.
Yeah, I mean, because it seemed like we played a full game on both sides of the ball. Special teams, everything was clicking. So it was good. I mean, we want more, but we're gonna have to work for it.
Obviously, last week was a good team you faced in Utah. Wasn't the result you were looking for, but now you come back home and you get a New Mexico team that beat you last year. Do the players think about last year's game, and how pumped up are you to play back at home?
I just feel like we just trying to get a W coming off that loss last week. Because, I mean, we went down pretty hard, but, I mean, we can hopefully we can bounce back.
Yeah.
I feel like we can bounce back. So, yeah, I feel like we didn't really think about last year because I don't even remember what happened last year. I really don't.
Good.
But,
That's
yeah,
a
we're
good
just
way to
looking
be.
forward to Saturday. So, yeah.
Are you the fastest guy on the team?
Arguably.
Arguably.
I think it's one other dude who could
who's
get
up
me.
there?
We got Tony Drake.
Okay.
Tony Drake. That's it. That's it.
You and Tony.
Yeah, that's Tony.
All
That's
right.
Tony.
There you go. Lou Greenwood, sophomore wide receiver. Nice job, Lou. Thanks. We'll be back after this. We'll talk to Dan Hammersmith, the wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator, coming up next on the Colorado State Sports Network. A couple more segments left here on the Coors Light Steve Fairchild Coaches Show, live at the Beach House Grill here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Brian Roth back with you. Well, we had Lou Greenwood, sophomore wide receiver. Now we have Dan Hammersmith, a name that Ram fans certainly know from a ways back. Not too far back, Dan. But
I can't follow Lou Greenwood. I'm going to tell you that right now. That was good. That was good
he's
stuff.
very good, very good. He could maybe be a stand-up comedian at later time.
Yeah, now you know my meetings, how they go every afternoon. That's I got to settle that place down.
So is it Lou Greenwood and Tony Drake? Is that who we're down to as the fastest Rams?
Fast guy. I told him Momo Thomas was going to be after him when he rolled out of here. Momo can run a little bit. We tried to throw Momo deep ball at CU early. We said, let's get him in there and run a streak, and we tried it. But Lou says that's not even a close battle.
No,
it's more than a tenth, he said, something like that.
Wow. We're talking, what, 4-3?
Lou thinks 4-3. Yeah, that might be the 20. I'm not sure what that is. No, that's Liggett, isn't it, Lou? I'm not sure.
Tyson Liggett's a 4-3-20 guy, huh?
Hopefully not listening to no, Lou's, he's a 4-4 guy. He's down there. It depends on if they're chasing him. He's scared. It might be 4-2, might be 4-5.
He made mention about kind of that light bulb going off, and we saw it in that UNLV game. Talk about the progression with him.
Well, the progression is I give a test. Here's a classic example. I give a test, and the players were laughing at this. I give my Friday night test. Lou's laughing already. It was our first Friday night test, and I test them what, third down, what are the top coverages, and red zone, what are the coverages, what are their this and that, what are the personnel. I said, what are the top 2 coverages that they like on third and medium? Lou put man and zone. Those are the top 2 coverages. And I don't know if a lot of people don't know about football, but there's only 2 types of coverages in football, and that's man and zone. I'm looking for cover 1, cover 2, specifics like that, and I showed Matt Yim that thing, and they all started laughing. I'll tell you what, I give the test now, and Lou's got it. It's cover 8, it's zone blitz, he writes it down. That's where he's, but he's, just like he said, he plays fast, he knows the scheme, he's worked on it. He didn't just give up on it when it was hard for him. And, that's hard to do at his age.
The Rams now have 7 wide receivers 8 now with Bobby Borky and then Tony Drake going from their respective earlier positions to playing wide receiver. Of those 8, and you might have the hardest job on the team, of those 8, only 1 played wide receiver in high school is Marquise Law. So you're not
right? Yeah.
You're not teaching them about how to refine some of those wide receiver skills. I mean, you're teaching them wide receiver skills from square one.
Yeah, all the kids are great. Some of those guys are high school quarterbacks.
Yep.
A lot of them, Borky and those guys.
Liggett.
So they've got football smarts. They're great kids. They're tough. They're going to give you effort. Lou was a running back. I think he went back and forth, to slot receiver and running back and DB and all that kind of stuff. So Byron Steele, he played a little bit of receiver, but I think he was a defensive kid. But he's he's got a feel for the game. Obviously, college football is a different deal, and they've got to learn a lot of things. And we run a pro-style offense, so there's a lot of timing things that are involved. We throw the ball down the field, so your footwork has to be right. You have to understand how to beat different techniques. I mean, that's things that even Lou, has got. Everybody's got a long way to go on that just to be really good at it. But I mean, the kids are working at it. As long as you have good kids that are working hard and football sense, and obviously a guy like Tony Drake and Lou that can really run,
Yeah.
If they're fast, that really helps me.
Speed never has a bad day, does it?
No, exactly.
Dan Hammersmith, wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator at Colorado State, joining us. A couple more thoughts. New Mexico, I know they've given up some points, given up some yards through the air. What have you seen that New Mexico defense?
They're a quarters team, which is 4 deep, that we've seen a lot this year already, so it won't be a new scheme to us at all. They do a little bit of zone blitz. They have a good the number 6 kid is a fast kid. He's a decent coverage guy. We're going to have to go in and similar to UNLV and those teams, we've got to go in, cannot overlook anything. And these guys are going to come in knowing that they beat us last year. So they've got a confidence level to a point. So we've got to go in and knock them back right away. Just like we came in a UNLV game, we got to put it on them early and keep it on them. Final
thought, you've kind of been out and about. You were at Rice 2 years ago, and then you're at Wyoming last year. What was it? Sorry, what was that like last year? Was that hard? Coming into Hughes Stadium at the end of the year? I'm
a Ram,
I know.
I'm green and gold.
I'm sorry.
But you know what? I was treated well up there.
Yeah.
And they're, like any football team, they're great players, and I was treated good by the coaching staff, the people. It was good, I'm trying not to get hit by a ketchup bottle. But it was a good season up there because of what we did. But
yeah. Well, speaking for a Ram fan and a Ram broadcaster, of which I'm both, I'm happy to see Dan Hammersmith back at Colorado State.
Great to be back. I'm going to tell you, great to be back.
Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate
Dan Hammersmith, wide receivers coach and passing coordinator at Colorado State. One final segment. Steve Fairchild rejoins us after this from Elegant Sports at Colorado State Sports Network. One final segment here at the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins. Sportsite Steve Fairchild Coaches Show. Brian Roth along with Steve Fairchild. Let's quickly go to the phone lines. Bring in Daryl from Knoxville. Daryl just got in time.
How are you guys?
Doing
Better
good,
late than
Daryl.
never.
How are you doing?
Just fine. My question is about the team now. You're playing a lot of guys that are young, and I know you've talked about your preference being that they come in and redshirt and get some experience in the program. Is it fair down the road in 2 or 3 years to really ratchet up the expectation of these guys because they've been in 2 or 3 years?
I think that's fair. I think we've really put together a couple good recruiting classes. I think as we go down here for the 3rd and 4th year of recruiting, which would be my 4th and 5th year on the field, then I think the expectation should be high. That's the way we want it. And I think we're showing that type of development with those younger guys. But that's all talk, that's more off-season talk. I think right now what's important is we focus on the Ricky Brewers and Eric Pites and those guys that are having tremendous senior years, and we try to get ourselves on a little run here the last 4 games, last month of the season to see what we can do.
Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate the phone call here tonight. Hey, we had Luke Greenwood, the sophomore, and Dan Hammersmith. Talk a little bit about those guys, two very good guys.
Lou's a tremendous player, very, very talented athlete. Gives us big play capability. You can see the charisma he has, and how much our team just really likes Lou, and what a great teammate he is, and he's going to have a great career. You talk about a guy that hasn't redshirted and hasn't really played wide receiver much, and you can see him coming on, and he's going to be one of the tremendous players, I think, in the Mountain West Conference. Dan Hammersmith, I could not say enough good things about. I had the opportunity to work with Dan as an assistant coach here. Now I had a chance to hire him on my staff, and there is no more loyal, hardworking guy in the world, and I'm just proud to call him a friend, and we're very, very fortunate to have Dan Hammersmith involved with CSU football.
Steve, final thought. You think you'll be taking on a desperate football team coming up Saturday?
Yeah, there's no question, but we're all desperate.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're the number 1 team in the country or not. You're clawing for a win. It's competitive out there in Division I football, and we're looking forward to a great game Saturday, and hopefully the Rams are going to come out with a win.
Yep, should be fun. We'll be on air at 2 o'clock and the kickoff at 4 from Sonny Lubick Field at Hughes Stadium. For Charlie Grimes, Bob Greenfield, and the coach, Steve Fairchild, I'm Brian Roth saying so long for the Beach House Grill and the Colorado State Sports Network.